The people behind DROID are constantly expanding the possibilities. They just released a new controller module and it's a great addition to the range. It's this module, the E4. It has 4 endless encoders with multicolored LED rings showing the current value. These work as push buttons as well and can be used in many clever ways. Because DROID is such a creative tool with deep possibilities, having access to a lot of controls in a small space is very valuable. Both for compact module designs as well as deep setups and sequencers. Here's a very simple example. I'm just using the DROID master and one E4 controller. The modular has a simple sequence voice and the gate input is firing a full ADSR envelope in DROID. The encoders give full control over all stages of the envelope. But in dispatch, DROID is generating 4 ADSR envelopes, and I can use the push buttons of the 4 encoders to select one of 4 envelopes, each with their own color. In dispatch, the second envelope is used to modulate the wave shape. I can keep switching between envelopes, easily read the settings and make changes. So this simple setup offers 4 knobs and 16 encoders. Here I set up a different patch to show the encoders can be used in a lot of different ways. As I did with the ADSR, you can use them like a regular pod with full control over settings like the output range, sensitivity, offset and so on. But you can also use an encoder for bipolar data input with a positive range and a negative range, of course with visual feedback. You can also use an encoder as an on-off switch or as a multi-position rotary switch. This one is used to select one of 4 banks, each with 3 encoders. And there's more. For example, you can set a value where the knob automatically returns to, a bit like a pitch wheel would. Of course, the physical knob doesn't move, but its value does. It's also possible to have DROID output a trigger, for example when you change the value, or only when the value goes up or down. Here, that trigger is pinging a filter. Of course, this being DROID, you have manual and CV control over everything. Here, this knob sets the speed with which this control returns to its set value. And just for fun, this one controls the LED color for this bank. The encoders can also be used as push buttons. I like color coding different features, but in this bank I used white LED rings to show which button is selected. Of course, this functions next to the value of the encoder, still visualized with a color. All those features make a single E4 very suitable for a compact DROID setup with a lot of control. For example, here I redesigned an idea from my previous video, so I won't explain it in detail, but this DROID patch has 2 internal LFOs, with these 4 encoders offering control over the frequency and wave shape of each of the LFOs. I can use the buttons again to select pages, and the second page functions as a mixer, setting the levels of both LFOs as well as an internal random voltage and an optional external input. That mix is internally sent to a quantizer and patched to sequence a voice. So I can create melodies by mixing in LFO1, LFO2, and a random voltage. You'll notice the LFOs create looping patterns, and that's because they are synced. The third page controls the settings for that. Each LFO has a switch to turn sync on or off, and a second multi-position switch to control after how many nodes the LFO is reset. The final page has a master clock and controls for a chord generator. This sets the root note, this the used scale, and the last one the spread. This transforms the single sequence into a 4-part polyphonic patch. A single E4 is very powerful, but of course you can also use multiple modules to set up things like control surfaces or deep sequencers. DROID offers multiple sequencer circuits with a lot of options. Here I used a sequencer specifically tailored to the E4 encoders. I set it up to be an 8-step sequencer. The buttons are used for the gates and the encoders for the pitch. The 4 encoders here are used for other parameters. The top one controls the master clock and the second the sequence length. The third one selects playback pattern variations. And the last one controls the range of the sequencer, which can be squeezed all the way back to the root node. Here I use those features for a nice sequence. Beside the functions of the encoders I just mentioned, I set up the push buttons of these 4 as a group, where only one can be selected at any given time. With the first one selected, these encoders control the pitch for each step. But with the second knob selected, I can set pitch randomization per step. With the third one, I can control step length. And I set the fourth to control ratchets per step. No matter what function for the sequencer controls is selected with the button group, the functions of these 4 encoders is still there. So I can still change things like the sequence length. There are a lot more features available, but this example creates a very fun performable setup. I used the 4 orange encoders on the right as a simple ADSR, but you could layer multiple sequencers, add generative percussive patterns, chord generation, and so on. I put this in every video I do on DROID because I think it's very rewarding to come up with an idea, build on a patch for a while, and then end up with exactly what I wanted. But tinkering on a patch is a part of DROID. You can download DROID Forge, the software I use to create patches, for free, and I recommend you have a look at the excellent manual to see if the workflow and options are something you connect with. If this all went a bit too fast, make sure to watch these more beginner-friendly videos I made. And as always, smash that like, subscribe and bell button if you want to see more Martele content from me. But that's it for now, thanks for watching and see you next time.